Welcome to our live training session number 3, part 5. In this video, we're going to be taking a look at working with our flex fuel tuning feature and our AEM Infinity. We're going to have a lot to cover, so let's jump into this live training so we can see what this is all about.
All right, so I just got done filling the gas tank up with ethanol. Now, when I was doing that, I hooked a line up to the fuel rail, and I hooked an external Dash 8 line up, and I ran all of the pump gas out of the fuel system. I was able to do that by jumping in here to my outputs, using my high side output table here. I just set all the values here to 100. I turned on that secondary fuel pump that allowed me to pump all the pump gas out. Now, this is a saddle style tank, so it has two sides of the tank, and we always have gas on at least one of the side of the tank. So I poured in then 2 or 3 gallons of the E45 that we had here, and I purged that through. So I turned the car off, and then I went back in, turned it on after I put the gas in. I went into this table again, I turned the pump on, and I let it mix and then purge all of it out. And then I went in, put all the gas in the car, connected the fuel line back on so we wouldn't have a leak, and I set my table back here to zeros and activating the secondary fuel pump when we only have 10 pounds of boost, so we set that all the same. Then I went in and I checked my ethanol content, and I was about 0.72 on my ethanol con here under flex fuel. Let's see, it was about 0.72. So then I grabbed some E98. So I grabbed pure ethanol and I dumped some in the tank, and I have my content here higher. I wanted to get my content at 85%, at 90 right now, so it's pretty close. So I used E85, and I did not get enough content, or the high enough content that I wanted out of it. So again, I added E98, brought my content up to above 85%, so that's fine. And we're going to be finding now, looking at this, we can see that our flex fuel Stoich air fuel is 9.5 to 1. It's redefined our air fuel. We found before it was approximately 14.05. And looking at the difference between these, as it's kind of calculating it, we're going to be seeing that's probably about 30 to 40% difference in fuel. So it's going to go in and automatically multiply everything in my fuel side of things, and it's going to take care of the fuel delivery. We're not going to have to do a whole lot with modifying our fuel. Probably going to have to jump in here to our fuel trims and probably pull out some fuel here. We only populated up to about 12, 13 pounds of boost, so we pretty much characterized the bottom half of the table. Now the top half, we're going to probably have to go in here and make some changes. We're probably going to be running rich when we get into boost. Now, normally, if you had just a volumetric efficiency table and you weren't using a multiplier like this, you could simply probably not have to touch anything in your VE table here. It's going to automatically do that rescale with that new Stoich lookup point from our table here in our flex fuel. But because we have this secondary fuel trim adder, it's not going to be following along with that mathematical calculation. So unfortunately, I'm going to have a little more legwork here and touching up again the top half of this table. And actually what I'll do, 14 PSI and higher, I'm actually going to go ahead and just use control minus and take some out, just in the anticipation that probably going to be a little rich and we don't need as much fuel in there. So just control minus, and then I'm going to go here from 12 PSI and just blend some of this up here, and go V, blend some up there, and we'll pull some more fuel out. Again, this is just going to be kind of by experience. I know that I'm not going to need as much multiplier on the table here. Let's go ahead and just blend this up just a touch. All right, so that should be good. We're blending our changes from 14 PSI and higher, and we're going to be finding that now it shouldn't run as rich if it's going to run rich when we get up to the higher targets of boost that we're going to be commanding. Now, the two critical things here, are two things that we're going to be working with the most in flex fuel. We are going to be going in and touching up our fuel in our fuel trim table here, but we also are going to go in and be working with our flex fuel ignition table. Remember that we have our main spark timing table here, and then we have our flex table here. So when we're on 70% ethanol content and higher, we're going to be using this table 100% of the time. If we jump into here, we're going to be seeing that we've set it all to a value of 1.0 that's going to be using this table exclusively. So we're going to be riding just on this table. We're going to make sure, let's just copy our tables here. Let's copy our ignition table, and let's copy it into our flex. And we need to make sure in these tables, we can see there was some differences here, so let's do Shift Control C. Let's save those.